From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may see all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum, Hunabku, Eva Maya, E Maho. Ayum, Hunabku, Eva Maya, E Maho. Ayum, Hunabku, Eva Maya, E Maho.
welcome everybody. Welcome to this edition of Vegetable Soup for Women. I'm Viata, your host, and if you're new to Viata's Tiny House Village, this Wednesday, every Wednesday, we are promoting our new book, Vegetable Soup for Women. And let me bring up the cover. And we have 10 authors, including myself, who have come together to create a manual to nourish the body, mind, and finances. And the stories in here are incredible, inspiring, and so much more. My friend Jonathan Blount, who's the co-founder of Essence Magazine, read the book and gave us a beautiful review on the Facebook page. So you can go to Vegetable Soup for Women on Facebook and get updates on how the book is going. We are close, very close to publication date, and we're looking at all the best marketing plans to use. And so every Wednesday, I present to you, my global family, the book and all that it means to us, the authors, and really to the world, because there's so much in this book that can be applied to men as well. In fact, I think the subtitle is Yes, Men Can Read It Too. Because what this book is doing is building relationships, starting with healing the women, okay? We feel like the women are the mothers, the workers, the grandmas, and especially women who are still in childbearing age are really sensitive right now in these chaotic times. Oh my goodness. Crazy, crazy, crazy. In fact, I want to share a story that I heard about. I want to share a story I heard, and my guest tonight is Frances or Beth Harris of Fran. She's going to come on and share her show that we're doing on Sunday, all about love on Sunday, and we're adding love tonight to the vegetable soup. I want to share something though, a story I heard, and I'd love to get those of you watching what your opinion is of this. So a mother comes home to her house and find it is totally destroyed. $7,000 worth of damage. Her son destroyed the house as much as broke windows. She took video of this. I think it's on Instagram. Forget where I saw it. She took video of all the destruction in her house, broken windows, TVs, coffee tables, $7,000 worth of damage. Why? Because mom took his phone away. Because he was disobedient in some way, shape, or form. That's what every parent, every grandmother should be doing. If a child has a phone, as attached as they are to these phones, whenever they decide they don't want to do what mom or dad or even grandma sometimes says, it's time to take the phone away. I just saw a post on Facebook. This guy is very humorous about his children and his life. And he was upset because his daughter was not answering his texts or his phone calls all day. So what did he do? Took the phone away. And she ran and said, I'm going to tell mom. Great. He said, go ahead. I don't care. So the question for you out there is, what do you do when a child destroys your home like that after you take their phone away because they've been disobedient? You have chosen disciplinary action to take away the drug, basically, that these kids are on, the phone, and so many adults too. So many adults need to have their phones taken away too, in my opinion. But what do you do to a child like that? Now, the first question I had is, how old is this person? Because that will determine what type of disciplinary action you're going to take. And then, so if the child is, I hope a 4-year-old doesn't have a phone, but these days you never know. No, it wouldn't be a 4-year-old. So I'm assuming this child is older than 10 or 11 years old. The type of destruction that was done to this house was probably something an older child would do. So if this child is in their teens, let's say, what do you think is the appropriate disciplinary action for a teenager who destroys the house because mom takes away the phone because they didn't do what they were told, they were disobedient, whatever. Mom decided no phone because you didn't do what I told you. So they destroy the house. So I'm asking that question tonight of anyone who's out there listening. What would you do? Just put it in the comments. And we're going to use that in our weekly show to help mothers, especially single moms, because the average father would beat their behinds, I would think. No questions asked. The average father who would come home to that would beat that child's behind and probably or spank them. I hope they wouldn't beat them, but there would be a serious spanking. Now, the other options, there has to be options in a case like this, because we're into nourishing body, mind, and finances. In this case, your finances are going to be in trouble for a while because you got to repair all the things in the house. But the other option is therapy. This child obviously needs to go to a counselor or a therapist of some kind, I would say. And then one option that my friend on Facebook, one of my friends on Facebook suggested, she would hand that child over to the child health services, whatever, whoever handles children who don't have a home. She would hand that child over to them and let them take care of that child. Again, depending on the age. If that teenager, let's say they're 17, 18 years old, they did something like that, you're out of the house. You're out. Now, there's two options. One, the spanking, depending on how old they are, that may or may not work. Number two, child health services, whoever, CHS, hand them over to them. Number three, therapy. Take you and the child have to go to therapy, right? The single mom and the child needs to go to therapy, right? Because why do you let children get to the point where they're so addicted to their phones that the minute you take them away, they destroy your house? That's a parental shift that needs to be made. Parent discipline, parent consciousness. Let's say that's a parent consciousness issue, because children have to have limited time on their phones and tablets. Otherwise, they're being stimulated all for hours and hours, and that's the drug that's keeping them in their comfort zone. Hours and hours of phone and tablet activity, comfort zone. And then you say, well, you didn't take the trash out, or you didn't clean your room, I'm taking your phone. And they go, oh, no, you're not. In fact, there have been stories, a young man shot his mother or father, I forget who it was. They actually killed their parents over a tablet or a cell phone. So one of our responses so far, she says, this is not the first time. Absolutely. There isn't. Regina. Thank you, Regina. That's what's so sad about it. Not the first time. And this is fairly mild considering someone taking a gun or a knife and stabbing someone because they took their phone drug. So what do we do in this case? What would you do is the question if it were your child 10 or 11. My granddaughter, 11 years old, has a phone now. And believe me, she's getting attached to it. Unfortunately. Children begin to relate to their phones more than they want to relate to people. Just like adults, us adults, we're all really attached to our phones lately. And so I hope that this show, Vegetable Soup for Women, we're here to nourish the nourish the body, the mind, and the finances. This is what the book is going to show you when you purchase the book. It's coming. It's coming. And I'm here to promote it and talk about it and just share how wonderful this book is. And I've invited some of the authors in the last 2 or 3 weeks. We've had the authors come on and share their experience, their point of view, their wisdom, because there's so much wisdom in this book. You're going to be, oh my goodness, you're going to be excited about it. And so I'm excited about it. And my guest, Beth, will be here shortly. I think she said she's running behind somehow. She doesn't know how to use her phone in her car, because she's not going to be on visual. She'll be on audio only. Some people have to be in their house to use their phone. I've had people, they don't think twice about it, picking up the phone in the car, but Beth is careful, and she will be joining us shortly. So once again, Regina is here. And so Regina says, willing to bet that this special needs child, yeah, you've stated it long-term counseling that is not about attacking mother nor child. Thank you, Regina. Thank you, Regina. That's the wisdom that we need to hear. The wisdom we need to practice. Because in this situation, we don't know the full story. We don't know what they did, the child did. But yeah, long-term count, when a child reacts with that much anger, I think we agree, that's reacting with anger when you destroy the house and the furniture in the house. The window was broken. The window to the outside was broken. They just went on a rage. And the mother who was filming it was in tears, filming all this. Yeah, you better be in tears. It would be shocking to think your child would react. If that's the first time that's happened, and you didn't realize they were that attached, then you'd be in tears, because you probably didn't think this could happen to your child. Now, for that to have happened, she had to be away from home, okay? I would think. I don't think she was in the midst of that anger reaction, rage reaction. You're right, rage. So for that to have happened, she probably wasn't home, which would, I'm guessing it's a single mom, dad, there's maybe no father in the house, and we don't know the whole story, but we can fill in. And what would you do in that situation? Because I'm facing that caution and restriction with my granddaughter, who has a phone now. Her mother gave her a phone at 11, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's where we are. That's what we're doing here. Gabor Mate, who is an amazing author and psychiatrist, says you should never give your children a phone that early. Causes all kinds of psychological problems. And we're seeing that play out these days. People don't want to listen to wisdom, so this is what's happening. So our brother Michael says, accurate therapeutic diagnosis. Sometimes it takes years and many counselors along with love and money to determine what the problem is. Again, we got some folks in the house with a lot of wisdom. Thank you, Michael. Because the love, and that's what we're going to talk about on Sunday in a deep way, undying love, I think we're calling it on Sunday. And we have several guests coming with Beth on Sunday. But how do you show love in that situation? I don't think you can just grab that child and hug them and say, it's going to be all right, honey, after you just destroyed my house, $7,000. It's time for, seem like some tough discipline, but how tough do you want it to be? And Robert says, awesome show and topic especially. Thank you, Robert. Did I put the topic up tonight? Let me see. What did I do? I did have it. Okay, we're adding love to the vegetable soup with Beth tonight. She's on her way. She doesn't know how to talk on her car. So she has to get home first, wherever she's coming from. So thank you all who are joining me tonight. because I want us to be prepared to handle, and actually I want us to prevent these type of situations. This is a serious wake-up call to prevent this type of thing. And Regina says, parents do it often out of their own anxiety. Yeah, you mean giving them the phone, Regina? You're giving the phone for the out of their own anxiety? I would say that too. And then Robert says, being subconsciously manipulative. Being subconscious, you're going to have to break that down for us, Robert. What does that mean? And Regina says, give a phone, but no more in Florida can they have their phones out in schools. That is helping. Yeah, thank you. In fact, they have a lot of rules in Florida that I'm really happy about, dress codes and all that in middle school. So yeah, no more phones. I think most public institutions like schools and that are waking up to the need to have more control over these children's behavior, activity, whatever in school, because it's gotten out of control. And so I have seen some horrible videos of students beating up teachers. And thank goodness my nephew, she said, Regina says yes, to put their fingers on their child. To put their fingers on their child. Tough love. After a situation like that, do they need tough love, gentle love, pat on the shoulder, what, a hug? And some serious, I think I'll go with Michael, some serious, and all of you here, some serious, accurate therapeutic diagnosis. Sometimes it takes years, counselors, along with love and money. So yeah, there I would agree the main response, because the mother is first reacting with tears right now. She reacted with tears and filmed the whole thing and posted it on social media. Isn't that what we do? Put all our business on social media before actually dealing with the situation. Even you're going to put it out on social media. So I think that was her way of just releasing that anxiety and anger, as you said. Regina says, to know where their child is at all times. Thank you, sister. Exactly. The problem with single parenting is they can't always do that. But after a situation like this, I hope that all parents will see the need to be more involved in knowing where your child is at all times. Because whatever that mother discovered from the child that said, you don't need your phone anymore, that's a privilege, not a right. They think it's a right. Entitlement is huge in this generation. What do you think? Is everybody agreeing that we got an entitlement problem with this younger generation? They deserve to have a phone. They deserve to have more clothes. They not deserve, they actually are entitled to these things, versus how about you just be grateful for whatever you have and don't complain. That's a joke these days. And I'm just referring to my own family situation, that especially when you are co-parenting, you have two houses, mom and dad are not together, but mom has boyfriends and dad has girlfriends. It can get very confusing. But I'm glad that we're here tonight to talk about the dynamics of especially women being in the household without a male head of the household, and having to make these kinds of decisions. Regina says they are not born that way. Their parents make them that way. That's kind of the sad reality of it. And that's why there's a book called Conscious Parenting. Every parent, in fact, I would say every pregnant woman should read that book and share it with the father if he's around, if he's willing. Conscious Parenting, because that might eliminate some of the things we talk about today going on in these families that are really serious. So Thank you all for joining us tonight. Now we are Vegetable Soup for Women. This book has been in the works. Let's see. I think it's taken if Vauban Schwartzwald is in the house, he could say how long this book has we've been working on this book. It's been about, I would say, 3 months, 3 or 4 months, and we finally are at the end editing stage of the book. I would say we're 95% complete with the editing and the construction, the cohesiveness, because 10 authors putting together a project requires a lot of cooperation and communication and then agreement. So we have been working on it, the agreement, the cooperation, and all of that for about 3 or 4 months. So I hope that everyone will be as excited when that book comes out to go ahead and purchase it, as we continue every Wednesday night here to share with you I'll give you an update on what's happening with that book. So thank you all for being here tonight. And let's see, 20 minutes. I'm guessing that Beth will be. So Beth, my guest tonight, is a long-term friend. She has a ministry that focuses on especially the love energy of her ministry of feeding spiritually as well as physically. Her ministry, she's had this ministry for probably about 5 or maybe 6 years, maybe longer. And so we're coming together on Sunday to do a show. Let's see, what are we titling this? Unfailing Love, The Power to Overcome. That's our Sunday show. And especially, I think it's so important to have this theme even today, adding soup, adding love to the soup. I had an employee when I was managing a health food store. Just to give you an example, I had an employee who worked in the cafe. In this health food store, they had a little cafe where people could come in and eat. And then I had to manage the retail and the cafe at some point. And the woman, the woman who was the head of that cafe was so amazing in her chef skills, her recipe skills, and I would say she was always putting love into that food because she would be singing while she was preparing the food, and she just loved what she was doing. Her attitude was always optimistic. She was always responding with patience and kindness. And that restaurant was always busy and profitable. I was so glad to have her as an employee because she was not only a good chef, but she was full of the energy of love. And so that's why we're saying adding love to the vegetable soup tonight with Beth, so Beth can bring out the importance of having that LOVE energy about you, in you, to bring to whatever project you're working on. This Vegetable Soup for Women's book was, we put so much love into this. I think each of the authors did, because it was born for me out of the movie Straw by Tyler Perry. How many of you watched that Straw movie by Tyler Perry? I had watched like 15 minutes of it, and I thought, I can't do this. This is too depressing. I just didn't want to even watch it. And then something spoke to me and said, yeah, you need to watch it so that you can have a full understanding of what you need to do next. Because if you watch that movie, you certainly didn't want to just use it for entertainment. It was a chronicle of a very tragic situation from the beginning to the end. And at the end of all things, she goes to jail after having killed someone, losing her child, all these things. I mean, it was just the worst. Watch. I don't blame you. You didn't miss anything. Because after the movie, I talked to my friend LA. I said, LA, we got to do something. This movie, we can't just let that sit like that. We got to come up with solutions. We can't just let that be the movie that entertained you about how bad your life can be. So he and I started talking about bringing solutions to that problem. And so my first chapter in Vegetable Soup for Women was about a solution from trauma, how to come out of the trauma and how to prevent it. So that's one of the chapters that I wrote in the book. And then, of course, the other chapter that I wrote, okay, I don't know what, the other chapter that I wrote was about tiny house living as a solution to your financial woe. Because in the movie Straw with Tyler Perry, she lost her car. She got evicted from her apartment. She couldn't get her check from her employer. And then she went to the bank to try and get money, and they accused her of robbing the bank. I mean, who thinks it? Why? I just ask why do you have to dramatize the worst parts of our lives all the time? Sometimes, I mean, to me, it was like we've already seen all this on social media. We've seen people being evicted, losing their car, losing their job. I mean, the situation right now for a lot of women, especially, is they're living in their cars, they're living in their vans, and they're living in storage units. So that's why I wrote the chapter in the book I did about drama solutions, because it's a reality. I mean, does anyone here know of anybody living in their car? If not, you're probably going to meet them someday soon. And we can see, I'm sure you've seen people who are living in their cars even now. And so it's not really it's not sad to me as much as, wow, what is the lesson they need to learn from that? I lived in my car for a day or two, I think, when I was traveling in somewhere, I can't remember. But for those who are living it daily, and vans, don't forget the vans. People are living in their vans. So I'm just checking my phone to see. I'm about to call you in 3 minutes. Okay, left Jonah at home. We went for a walk. Okay, thanks. It's pretty intense. I don't know what people are texting me. Okay, I'm home, about to call. Beth will be calling in about 3 minutes, so any minute now. So we are in a place right now that we can come up with, so we can be as creative as we want to bring solutions, because our government can't do it. Look at all the homeless people who are being wiped out and disappearing. So we don't want to keep up the problem. This book is all about solutions, because we have seen the problem too often, and no one, I wouldn't say no one, but we don't have enough solutions, I think. The governments of our country have failed in the way that we have a increasing homeless population. So I think it's time for the conscious ones, us, and those who have the means to work to bring a solution. Now, let's see. We got Regina. A small number living in their cars. If the police hasn't taken their cars. So yes, and many students are homeless. What? Students? Are we talking about college students? Wow. Okay, that's a new one on me. College students are homeless. That means it's time to get out of college and get a job, maybe. I don't know what that's about, but we have solutions. And this book is bringing the solutions, because there's 10 authors, and all of these authors are of different generations, different experiences, and they're bringing nourishment for body, mind, and finances. So I'm excited about it. I hope you'll be too. And love is the solution, always. Love over fear. That's one of the signs in my video I play every time, creating a tiny house village. Fear over faith and love is the solution. That's why we're here, to bring the love. So Regina says middle and high schoolers in Palm Beach counties. Wow. Okay, so where are the parents? Wow, that's interesting. What do you think what are the parents? So the parents and the students are living in their cars, is I guess what you're saying. So yeah, it's serious. It's really serious. So that's why my second chapter in this book is all about how to find land and build a tiny house. And my friend Ellie and I have had a couple of shows on this channel about how you can buy land for $100. So it is possible. It's very possible to find inexpensive land and then find people of like minds. Let me see. Let me get Beth. People of like minds to go in on the land and build the unit that will supply. And you might have to live on a tent for a while on that land, but that's okay. It's your land. So think about that. When we think about Regina, wish I could talk. Okay, we're going to give you middle and high schoolers. I'm going to give you my phone number after we talk with Beth. In fact, I'll put my phone number in the comments, and after we talk with Beth, you can call in if you like. Okay, Beth, welcome, Beth. Tell our audience a little bit about you, please.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm so happy we're back on. We haven't been here since June, so yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for the invite. To tell you about Fran. It's an acronym for Faith Rooted Artists Network, and it's any type artist, doesn't matter, a writer, singer, musician, whatever. We all have some type of artistic flair that perhaps we just haven't had someone to draw out of us, right? And we know that Scripture says he gives good gifts to men. And I think one of those gifts would have to be our creativity. And I offer free music therapy on the weekends and just network with artists all over the country, just checking on their welfare, basically. Music for me, and I would say most people, is healing. You know, it's one of our mental health, I would say, techniques. You know, art therapy, music, all of the arts. You know, it's a way of expressing ourselves. That's why it's called expressive arts therapy. And out of that came the idea of Nature Church. I'm going to speak more about that Sunday night. But the acronym is CLASS, KLAS, which is Keys to Life from Arctic Sands. And you might ask, well, why did I particularly choose that? Because any environmental issues, it really begins there. Like the crisis that we're having all over the globe. And there are many lessons to learn, you know, in just tending the earth. That was man's first command, that we tend the garden, this beautiful, wonderful garden. And we don't really appreciate it. Like you mentioned today about chemtrails. I mean, I think it's all about when we know how to love, we will definitely care for the planet, you know? We care for our home when we love our homes. So that's pretty much the gist of it.
So on Sunday, we're going to get into more love, unfailing love. How did you come up with the title to have unfailing love?
Yeah. There's a song that came out in the 80s. I love it. It's Unfailing Love. That was the it is the name, I should say. And it's inspired by a scripture that says, "Love never fails." And often through our experiences with love, we're like, "Hey, how does that compute?" Because we know we've had so many broken relationships, and we see the crisis with children not being loved, but preyed upon. So I believe that, as the song says, what the world needs now is love. I think what we need, though, is to know what love is. Like you too says, I want to know what love is. And I think that's the majority. That is the issue. And so that's why I think, you know what, that's a topic we should always discuss, because we want to reflect that love. And I'm sure there are many people who want to do that, but if they don't know how, like, okay, what do we do? So I just thought that would be so pertinent, particularly with what's going on around the world, our nation and around the globe.
Yeah, so thank you. We're going to keep that love topic going for a while, because there's so much hate out there. It's like, it's like something we should talk about that every day, because the more we, Beth and I, and all the ministries out there, the more we put out that energy of love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy. It does not, all the things that are described in the book of Corinthians, they apply all the time. We need to talk about that all the time, because there's so much hatred out there. So thank you, Beth, for putting this together for us. And Sunday, we're going to go into deeper conversation about the unfailing love with some other brothers. In fact, I think we got 2 other men joining us on Sunday. And we're going to keep this conversation going, because too much hatred, and love conquers fear. Love conquers fear, and so much more. And Regina, I'd love to hear from you more about, if you want to call that number in the comments, we'll bring you in on this on my phone, and you said you would like to talk. If you want, call that number, and we'll hear your voice, Regina, about what we've been talking about, the parents, the parent situation, and how the children, the young generation, are so confused. They're so confused and so misled, and lacking in love. Maybe I think the parents have had to sacrifice the love that those children need for finding a job. Maybe, as Regina said, your parents could be working 2 to 3 part-time jobs, and can't afford an apartment. Now, this is when this tragedy is occurring, where a single parent, let me bring in, okay, 904-227. Is that you, Regina?
Yes.
Welcome. Go ahead and speak. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing this information that we should be praying about, thinking about, and how to solve these problems. So go ahead, Regina.
Okay, Regina Wilson. I'm a school substitute in the Palm Beach County School, and most of the time I'm in middle school. That's my preference. But at the end of last year, for like the last couple of months, I was in a high school. And when I was on the Palm Beach County public library system, they have a woman there, and it includes housing. So you don't have a resource person that has housing information if you don't have a housing crisis. And we do here. Many of the children in the school, they live with their parents in a car. Those are the ones that the system is aware. But think about those who are afraid that the system will take away their children. They don't say anything, and their kids don't say anything. But I kind of pick it up sometimes when the student is not able to explain what happened, that they failed to charge their Chromebook. They all have a Chromebook. Yeah, in the school that I'm in, they all have a Chromebook. That's their computer. They take it home, and they come in, and it's not charged. Is it because they've been on their device all night, or is it they don't have anywhere to charge it up?
Right. And
So
that's
it's a
easily,
problem.
and that could be easily resolved, because you could go to McDonald's or any of the late night restaurants, couldn't you, and just plug it in, right? If mom is thinking about, okay, we need to have this charge, let's go over here and sit and have some hamburger or whatever, right?
You're beautiful, but it's like, girl, come on in the system, and you'll recognize some of what you're saying. many families have lost their food stamps, and I don't know if you're aware, there are people online that are on. They don't have it because the system is pushing people off the system. And so that sounds good to go into McDonald's in the evening and charge up their Chromebook, right? See, I think that makes sense to me, right? But do keep in mind that for some of these, if they have a job, none of them have one job where they can pay their rent. One job. And most have 2 and 3 part-time jobs. You see what I'm saying? It's not really like that they can just go to McDonald's and take their kids or Burger King or any of those places. They're out there working. All right, and if they can, like sometimes people have those security or part-time security jobs, their kids are there with them, like squirreled away sometimes. So it just, the world that I used to live in, that was something that was doable. A lot of these students are first generation, so their parents generally come someplace else. Now, some of them, in some of the neighborhoods, their parents and them also, they're just getting here. This is what they can to absorb them. Depending on the country that they come from, they'll get all benefits, Cuba, or they won't when they're from Mexico or Colombia. But to me, the fact that there is a resource person in the school, right? The students take this form home and they complete it and they bring it back and it goes to one of the counselors. And the only reason why I know is because when I'm substituting, the student will say, what do I do with this form? They're returning the paper that is about housing. And I just turn it into the person in the office and they give it to whoever is the appropriate person. It's a problem. And our county is a millionaire county. It's not like our county is Dade County or Broward County, right? Or Martin or some of those. Ours is where the millionaires are. And so the cost of living here, a lot of these folks cannot. Many of the teachers don't even live in Palm Beach County. They travel an hour or so to come into this school that I'm at because they like the school. So it's a problem.
Beth, are you in the same county?
Yes, I am.
So Beth is in the same county. Are you seeing that happening in your county, or do you interact at all with any students in your area?
Well, I'm not interacting with the students right now, but with the other network I had, the Green Tree Network, yes, I had affiliates who would go into the schools and present skits on human trafficking. As you know, my network is different now. It's, pretty much just about presenting our concerns through the arts.
Okay, so Regina, maybe you can get together with Beth. But here's the thing: I'm hearing you say, Regina, that they're not coming up with a lot of solutions for these families.
And I don't know who you're they. Who is your they?
The school,
because picking them up, where's the school supposed to?
I mean, you said that the student has to take a form. Okay, you said the student has to fill out a form and take it and bring it back to the school. What's the purpose of filling out this form?
Yes, if they have housing needs.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And if they have housing needs. So I'm not involved in it. All right. So I have to, watch what I say because I'm not involved in it. But all of the counties have the homeless continuum. They all have that. That's flooded with people. All right. So they strive to help a family become gainfully employed, to save up enough money, and also there are programs in which the parents, once they have enough money or they are gainfully employed, sometimes they'll give that family first, last, and security. Okay, so that they can, have housing. But now let's talk about what kind of housing. A roof over your head is a roof over your head, and we give thanks. But do keep in mind, if your one bedroom is $1,800, your one bedroom, the system cannot give you a one bedroom and you have a child. And if you have both gender children, you have to have minimum 2 bedrooms. And depending on the ages of the children, you then might have to have 3 bedrooms. That's a lot of money, right? I mean, there's a new teacher at the school I'm at. She cannot afford a 1 bedroom in Palm Beach County. She's like, it's too expensive. She's coming from Broward County. The good news about her, she does have a house. She told me she has a house. But, she's not an aggressive driver like people say I am. It takes her a long time to get from where she is to the school.
Yeah, I hear you, sister. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's going on in every state in the country. Every state in the country is, I'm sure, experiencing that same stress and challenges. And when I say they're not coming up with solutions, I'm saying it just seems like if you have a wealthy county where the school is located, that why can't they draw on some of the citizens in that county to help with this problem? Is that a possibility?
From your lips to God's ears, some people would say. What is that movie that always comes out around Christmas time, right? And the guy sees himself, I think, the past, the present, that he's a rich guy. But what does he do?
Christmas Carol.
Yeah. So, I don't mean any harm. We are in a country that has never done right for people of color. It never did right. And why are we expecting it to somehow right? I don't know, but there are more people, and there is less affordable housing.
Yes. So okay. So this is a great topic to develop even on Sunday because the solutions can't be what's that saying? You can't solve the problem by repeating at the level that you started it, or what do they call insanity? Saying the same thing, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Right? That's insanity. And that seems like where we're kind of stuck in this loop where they think they're going to solve this problem, especially housing, by doing the same thing they did last year, maybe, or even last month or so, and it's not working. So that's why I'm excited about this book, Vegetable Soup for Women, because the authors have come up with some really radical solutions. And there's one in there about cookies to cake or something, how one woman made $1 million baking cupcakes, something like that. That's just one idea in the book about how getting out of a financial rut is that there has to be some radical creative thinking to solve the problems of today. We cannot keep doing the same thing we did 5, 6, 10 years ago to solve. This is a crisis, what's going on in our country right now. And that's why I'm saying, okay, if you're in a wealthy community, why isn't somebody in that community reaching out to solve some of these problems that are happening in their school system? But somebody has to be
But it's not their school system now. It's not the wealthy school system.
Okay.
It's the public school system. There is a difference.
But they're in the in the county.
My wealthy child is not going to be in your public school.
Right, but the community is there.
And where there, some of the communities that when I was subbing more, some of the communities, their parents, usually their mothers, have the luxury of volunteering. And that's so beautiful. Most of the schools that I subbed with, they don't have volunteers. Hispanic mothers are trying to make $1. These Haitian mothers, these Jamaicans, these African Americans, usually the whites there, they're poor whites, right? They're also living in those mobile homes or trailers and that kind of thing where it's quote unquote less. It's not like there's a lot. You ladies remember how back in the day when there was the great migration to the south and north?
Right.
We took in, right? We lived in Delaware, and the family members came up, and they had a room, and they came, and they then had the luxury of looking for employment, and once they got it and saved up enough money, they moved. But we're not in that kind of
thinking that
life.
Yeah, we're not thinking like that anymore. We don't even have the community, the village like we used to have, where you like you said, relatives come up from the south, they got a place to stay until they can get on their feet on their own. But yeah, things are different.
The climate is different now.
Yes.
Not only is the thinking, but the climate is different. All right, now I get 20. I get $18 an hour. Is that it? I get $18 an hour, and if I work this job, $18 an hour, I would not be able to afford to live anywhere. I would not be able to afford to live anywhere in this county.
Right.
And not in my backyard. That's that NIMBY thing, right next that we have a La Quinta Inn or something like that. That's going to be made into some kind of housing, and the uproar from the people in my Century Village community. You don't want them next door. It's going to bring down the property value.
Oh, yeah.
And my statement is, well, why don't we then go and be supportive to them so we can help them, work with them so that they can value their property and our property can then go up. I might as well talk to my son, and I don't even have a son, a child. I was like, no. So I don't know the solutions. To be honest, I don't have the solutions. I do what I can, on a very small one-on-one kind of basis. But for the system.
Well, Michael, we have a comment from Michael in the audience. He says it used to be that the Black family lived together and shared together. Now we seem to be every man for himself. And yes, Michael, that's the sad reality. That there's
but it's all by design.
Yes.
I mean, when they busted up, deliberately busted up our communities, it was deliberate. It was by design. And to me, that we need to remember that, because it's easy sometimes to look at, the plight of some of our neighborhoods and blame the victims. As far as I'm concerned, that was by. When we were together as a community, we voted a certain kind of way. We had X amount of power. All right, we were left alone to create and build within our community. Where is that at, Matt?
Okay, so we're all going through a major transition from spiritually, cosmically, universally, of third dimension chaos right now. This is how I see it when I meditate and think about why is this happening, what's going on. So this is a planetary chaotic thing too. The planets, the universe is taking us through this very chaotic period. Why? So that we can get to the fourth dimensional peace and no war. Now, how do we do that? People have to let go, in my opinion, of their lifestyles that they've become so accustomed to, and think outside the box and realize that, again, you're not going to solve the problem doing the same thing you've been doing over and over again. So that's why these authors have been put together. I believe it's divine order in this book, Vegetable Soup for Women, that these authors came together, men and women, different ages, different generations, to bring unusual solutions. And so that's why I'm doing this show every Wednesday, to promote this collaboration of minds, hearts, and energy and experience to bring unusual solutions, because that's what it's going to take. Can't be done. For instance, if you're used to living in Miami, for instance, or whatever city, and you're in your car and you're struggling 3 jobs or and you can't make ends meet, you may have to leave that area and find another life. It may not be easy, but you might have to go out and find some cheap land. That's one of the things we keep promoting. Find some cheap land, find other people, in fact, get together with other people who are also ready to make a change in their life, who are struggling, and buy some cheap land. It can be done. For $100, you can find cheap land. Now, then it's up to you and those people you bring together to build on that land. Just like our ancestors did when they left the plantation. That's what is happening. You're going to have to get off the plantation of struggle and strife and less and sleeping on the floor, whatever, and move and find some land, build on it. My grandfather built his own house. His parents built their own house. That I think we're kind of going in reverse now. To leave, the Great Migration took place. We all went to the city, and then we in the Trump era, where Trump says, no, we're going to clean out this city. We're getting rid of all these homeless people, and all the cleaning out. And it's like, what do? You just stay in the city? Courage, bravery says, no, it's time for me to leave. I need to find someplace else to live and breathe and raise my children. And I think once people make that decision, that the hardest part is to make that decision to leave the matrix, leave the urban confusion, and go find land with other people and build a community, build houses, whatever you need to do, find the skills and build a new reality for your family and you. That's just one idea in the book. So we'll be talking about that more and more. And then Beth, you have any final words? Thank you so much, Regina, for sharing that, because that's what we want to highlight every week. And then hopefully bring solutions that this book will bring once it's out, of course. But Beth, do you have any final words for us?
I'm just very happy. Of course, Regina is my friend, and just to hear the ones that have made any comments, whether on your feed or by phone, I'm just very grateful that we have the same intent, and that is to see a better world. So I'm looking forward to sharing more, as I said, with you on this Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right. Thank you. So tomorrow, let's see, tomorrow I got a day off. I worked so hard today trying to sell a bouncer house. If you ever try and sell anything on Facebook Marketplace, you're going to get a lot of activity. I all day long, I was answering, is it still for sale? Is it still for sale? Is this still for sale? All day long, I was answering that. And then finally, somebody showed up at 6:00 at night. So I'm doing that all day long. It's like crazy. I'm so ready to jump into bed and just chill and put a candle on. So tomorrow, I'm taking the day off. No grandchildren will be here. But Friday, I got to talk about the Tylenol vaccine epidemic challenge. There's so much going on about this new revelation, I would say, from President Trump and RFK Jr. that we need to be aware of. And that's part of the problem with the Black community, the ignorance that has been out there is why they're not moving and shaking and doing things, because we have not been educating ourselves and gaining the knowledge we need to make changes in our life that profit us and help us grow and be in good health. So Friday morning, be sure you join me Friday morning at 9 on right here on the Beata's Tiny House Village. I'm going to really dig deep about. I learned so much about glutathione and Tylenol and pregnant women and vaccines today that I'm going to share all of that in case you missed it, because we need to have this knowledge if we're going to grow healthy communities. So please like and subscribe, and you'll get notified when I go live. And then if you feel led to donate, my Cash App is $ Vieta Robinson. And let's see what else. That's it for today. Thank you all so much. I'm so glad Regina was brave enough and courageous enough to come on and have this conversation with us. I really appreciate you, sister, sharing that. And then thank you, Beth, for being here to guide us to Sunday. And so we're going to have an even deeper discussion on love, the unfailing love, because that is the solution. And evolution, the funny thing, evolve. If you look at the word evolve, love is in evolve backwards. And that's what we have to all do. The solution is evolution. And Regina and all of those who are working in the public school system, prayers. My heart goes out to you. It ain't easy. And as we talked about earlier in the show, we have to know how to show love to even the children who are reacting with rage in the house because their parents don't know how to monitor their cell phone use. That's a whole issue. That's a problem right now, because the parents are unconscious and they're just throwing cell phones at their children without any guidance, without any discipline. And here you go, wreck the house, $7,000 in damage. Take a deep breath. In fact, let me just play a little meditation before we go, because these are some serious times. Some serious times. And if we don't take time Mother Earth come in. Joy, the energy, content of Mother Earth. Joy, 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 let joy rise. So we give thanks for all of you who joined us tonight, and please share this with those who may need a little wisdom and uplifting. And everybody have a beautiful evening. Get some rest, and we'll see you Friday morning. Namaste to all my yogi friends. Sat Nam. Ashe, Ashe, O to all my brothers and sisters out there, and Shalom.
Thank you.
Thank you.